Hello, I'm Hoot in the Dark. I remember it so you don't have to. I don't know if any of you fellow Hooties are aware, but I am in fact a fan of the Nostalgia Critic. I've been a fan for quite some time, back when they went on Blip and had their own website, That Guy with the Glasses, because of YouTube's tyrannical stance on copyright. And I mean, even worse than it is today. Which is still bad, considering any studio can claim something as theirs when it isn't, or when something is clearly within fair use, they still claim and block people from seeing it, even going as far as rejecting disputes, Turner. They went to another site to show their reviews, and soon took on more creators, and that became Channel Awesome, a sort of satellite network, if you will, each focusing on a singular medium. Which is the reason for the satellite on the logo. There were 56 contributors from 2008 to 2014, some leaving or fired during the time. One, a more tragic reason, as later years would prove this person had a more dark past. Not going to get into that or get into any of the change of channel drama. I'll throw in some from time to time when the scene comes up, but I won't really get into the serious accusations or just randomly spout off the stuff going on behind the scenes. The Channel Awesome document is available if you want to check it out for more backstory. There are currently 15 still working in Channel Awesome as far as I'm aware of, from the That Guy with the Glasses wiki. Look guys, I'm not the best at researching. I know I really should be, considering I'm researching shows, but I like to focus more on the show and its lore, whereas there are channels that do an amazing job going into detail about the shows and behind the scenes of each episode. That being said, let's get into the first of 3 anniversary movies, and thanks to you fellow Hooties, the winner by 3 votes is the CA anniversary movies. The first being Kickassia, which, in my personal opinion, has to be my personal favorite of the movies. I haven't watched To Boldly Flee yet. I'll get there when it comes time for me to get started on that 3-hour of a nightmare, both plot and behind the scenes, which, from what I can gather, hasn't been the best time for anyone involved, except of course of, Doug Walker, aka the Nostalgia Critic. So, I will bring up some stories that were mentioned in the Not So Awesome document, but not all of them, just some that were related to a particular scene. I hope you enjoy this little review trilogy, and let's begin the CA anniversary movies with Kickassia. We start with the Channel Awesome intro with the original logo, which was rarely used later on to the point where it's not even used anymore. But it's interesting that they made it like a studio intro to a movie. We see the opening scene where Rob explains the setup for the special about a micronation, the Republic of Molossia, located in Dayton, Nevada, which is actually a real thing. It's founded by Kevin Baum, who in fact gave them permission to film there, where he and his family participated in the film, his family appearing a few scenes in a room. They even have tours to this day. If you want to learn more, check out their website, molossia.com. They even include the events of Kickassia as the Kickassia Invasion, which is really nice of them to add them as an event in the micronation's history. Unfortunately, it is not recognized by any of the United Nations. If you're in the area or near Dayton, Nevada, I'd check it out and support this humble little micronation, and maybe it'll finally be recognized as its own nation. We hear Rob doing his best attempt at a ghoul's voice from Fallout. Yes, I know it's supposed to be John Hurt, but can you tell it's supposed to be him? Also, for those who don't know, John Hurt was Ollivander from Harry Potter. You know, the one who gave Harry Potter his wand. He was also the War Doctor. He explains the backstory of the micronation, or just someone explaining the backstory of Molossia. That too, as the intro scene of Kickassia plays, where we see the main characters that are part of the special before we hear Doug sing the chorus of the score. And only Doug. Which, to be honest, it would have been nice to have the entire cast lend their voices for the intro, as they are just as big a part of this special as Doug is, some even making content about music at the time, like Todd in the Shadows. We see the glorious leader of Molossia doing some morning yoga when the nostalgia critic knocks at his door. He explains his channel, and being very awkward at that, and explains his intentions to invade the micronation with the help of his fellow creators, and gives him 10 minutes to pack his stuff and, in his words, piss off. And he does, I'm sure any rational person would do if someone like the nostalgia critic told him that he was going to take over their land with the help of his army of nerdy reviewers.
Why do they always want to do it the hard way?
Doug leaves as we see some nice far shots of Nevada, probably done from the inside of a car driving to and from the hotel they're staying at during the filming of the special, as a critic is seen staring at the website, which, again, check it out, as he calls his many fellow creators and tells them it's time. An epic scene that is far too epic for what he's doing, as they call him back, confused about what he means. Spoonie and Lakara thinking he's asking what time it is, while Angry Joe thinks he's referring to Chick-fil-A. He calls that gal with the glasses, who isn't a part of the special, as well as Little Miss Gamer, who was stuck in her Nintendo game, and now has to defeat the Mother Brain, restore the order to the kingdom, while saying Link has been acting like a jerk. It's nice that they include them in the special so that they would still be included even though they were not able to be there for filming, which from what I heard happened during the filming. I'm not surprised if they were actually happy they didn't. He goes on speakerphone and tells them all the plan, which I don't know if that's even possible for flip phones, and that number of people as he booked them a single room, as they all are cramped in the small room. They complain about their conditions. The cinema snob asks Spoonie if he was Dr. Insano, which he denies, saying that was before, looking off screen, saying it was the past. The critic asks if everyone is there before he explains the game plan, as Mars Girl questions why invade Molossia, followed by everyone asking too, as the critic explains that this is finally a chance for them, and by them, he means he can see something. If everyone wanted to rule over their own nation, to finally have power, to create an empire unlike any other. Now, I'm sure you fellow Hooties are smart enough to pick up that he's just using the others to help him take over Molossia, saying that they'll all rule it, only to have him step in and assert himself as the leader. But let's keep watching. Linkara asking, what could they do with an acre of land? Which it isn't true considering it's over 11.3 acres. Although they might have added on after the events of Kickassia. The critic tells him, what can't you do with an acre of land? As future loyal minion Film Brain is astounded by it. The critic explains that what can start as an acre of land can blossom into something they can't possibly imagine.
Yeah, like 2 acres of land.
They make an awkward joke about Nazis, and it's a bad joke. I'm just gonna skip it. They somehow get motivated by this speech, as they now aboard to invading Molossia, and soon the world, as a critic asks the nostalgic chick to be his vice president. She agrees as they make their way to Molossia. We see Kevin Baugh have a conversation with someone about the impending invasion, as it shows to be him talking to himself, changing clothes and moving to the opposite side of the table. We see Channel Awesome walking in a line, Avenger style, as the president stands his ground. Channel Awesome charged for Molossia as it cuts to them, charging for the president standing there before he's shown to have a machine gun, which I don't know why they don't think of taking weapons with them. Did they think he was just gonna not be armed? Completely outgunned, they retreat back to the hotel, screaming like little girls. Back at the hotel room, Ben the Sage asked them if they had any better plan than just screaming. The others are about to leave when the critic tries to convince him to stay. Film Brain saying he would never leave him, as the nostalgia critic moves him away. One of the many weird scenes of Film Brain's strange loyalty to the critic. They make weird suggestions for how they should invade, Doug shooting them down, as Doug's version of Spider-Smith is there for some reason, suggesting a legion of spiders, and Doug kicks him out, which is a character that he includes in some of his reviews, as well as later specials. It gets way out of the hand, the biggest example being to boldly flee. Phalis comes up with the only sensible idea for them to just use weapons. The critic shoots it down before taking the idea for his own, as he tells others to arm themselves with the most deadly props and toys as they prepare for the invasion of Molossia. Chapter 2 begins. Yes, there's going to be chapters to this, like a Quentin Tarantino film, but unlike a Quentin Tarantino film, the story isn't all mismatched, where you don't know where it takes place. Is the beginning? Is the middle? Why is this character dead here, but he's alive in the next chapter? We see Spoonie staring off in the distance, as he asks if everyone is preparing for battle, as the critics suggest that he summons the Doctor, which for everyone is confused. They're referring to one of Spoonie's characters, Dr. Insano, him telling the critic that he left the madness long ago, turning his back to the camera, probably a quick plug for his website, since it's printed on his back, as he says that the critic won't find any of it here. The critic says sometimes we all have to give in to the madness before leaving. We cut back to Molossia, as the president is looking at flyers for tours, as he sees Channel Awesome back again, this time with weapons, as they stand ready to start the invasion again proper, as the nostalgia critic, dressed up as M. Bison for some reason. The president tells his family that they may be under attack.
Just a heads up, guys, Molossia might be under attack in a couple minutes or so.
They make the new Kickassia salute, as the critic gives a speech before calling Phalis, which he calls him Phallus, telling him to make the signal. Phalis telling him that he's right in front of him and he can do it himself. Critic smacks him as he signals to sound the charge. Channel Awesome charges for Molossia again as the president sets off landmines. They run past, missing them, the critic nearly getting blown up. Mars Girl is knocked back by a mine, as Linkara making a dramatic speech, as Mars Girl tells him that she's okay, as he tells her to take comfort in his masculine arms. Joe shooting wildly in the air, as President shoots cannon fire at them. It's a pretty crazy scene, not gonna lie. We see the bum run in, giving up after he was almost blown up. They soon run into another obstacle, a fence. They call for a ladder, which doesn't work, to which they also call for a footstool, as they jump over the fence and make their way to the government house. Benzai holds up Barry, strapped with grenades, as they share a tender moment before they both get blown up. The president readies himself with a katana before teleporting around, kicking their asses. He runs to Lee, or 2D Lee, as he changes and becomes 3D! Possibly his first time being in person in anything. I don't know. I've never really watched this guy. I've never even seen any videos with this dude. After defeating the president, he runs back in the house as a critic tells him to follow him.
Follow him?
They chase after him inside the house as they approach the president, demanding him hand over Molossia. Or is it?
I'm not the president. I'm Fritz von Baugh, Minister of Making Things Orderly.
They know it's the president, but Fritz assures them that although they get it a lot, they are in fact two different people, saying that the president left. Angry Joe runs into the room with the family and declares that they have won, and the critic gives a victory speech and declares himself the president and the nostalgia critic as vice president. He renames Molossia as Kickassia, as everyone cheers their new nation, ending Chapter 2. Chapter 3 starts with a Inglorious Bastard joke, Inglorious Glorious, as we see a segment of Kickassia news in the style of a 1940s news segment, as we're given an update on the current events of Kickassia, training regiment instructed by Mars Girl, trading run by Lord Cat, who trades classic video games for goods and valuables, claiming that China would sell half their armies for a copy of Marble Madness, guessing it's pretty rare there. Angry Joe made Secretary of Defense, talking about how Mars Girl being drill instructor is good for keeping up morale by punching them. Benzai, in charge of immigration, his stuffed polar bear as his second-in-command, talking to someone, Barry calling them a prick. Cinema Snob, who reviews Z-list movies and, other reviews, is the treasurer and in charge of making the flag for Kickassia.
That's why I came up with a muscle-bound ice cream cone carrying machine guns and shooting laser beams out his eyes. Because when people look at that, all they can say is, kick ass.
Handsome Tom was made to hold up the flag, and he's not happy doing it. As 3D Lee is head of the EPA, though he's more mesmerized at the fact that he's not 2D anymore, and is just staring at his hands, making the Rim Lazar reference, I think, as Benedict Sage is the Surgeon General, making 2 medical discoveries that, 1, holding an Uzi is healthy, and telling everyone to smoke, as he thinks that's healthy also, only to find out that he's reading the clipboard upside down. Meanwhile, Paul is the local radio DJ, rambling about the Kickassia government, I think. Spoonie is head of science and technology. The news guy brings up that he resembles Dr. Insano, and Spoonie has another episode. Meanwhile, Linkara is head of the Lightbringer. Just kidding. He's head of the FBI, talking about stealth and illusion, showing that he can appear somewhere only to be somewhere else. Phalis is Secretary of State, making brilliant ideas only to have the critics smack him and take them for his own. We see the nostalgia chick, doing a Sarah Palin impression, talks about how they get their current affairs, obviously pretending to be naive to sneak her way to being president. President Critic discusses his plans on taking over the world, starting with the neighbors, and expand. The newsman trying to get the critic to say, of course, one of his most famous or infamous joke from his Street Fighter review, when a villain plans to, you guessed it, take over the world.
Say, Critic, do you get a lot of pussy with that outfit?
Of course!
Cinema Snob informs Critic that they won't be able to accomplish anything they plan to do with the funds being so low, and the president declares that every day at 4 p.m. is Hogan's Heroes time, where they all shut up and watch Hogan's Heroes. Cinema Snob telling him not to come to him for anything, when Phelan suggests the idea for tours with postcards and such, and President Critic dismisses him before Phalis predicts that he'll just steal it for himself. Meanwhile, Fritz von Baugh asks Phalis why he lets him treat him that way, and Phalis says he's the president, and Fitz asks what would it be like to be the president, planting the seeds of an uprising amongst Channel Awesome. Film Brain scaries to the president like a loyal little puppy and asks if he could cameo in one of the videos, and the critic says that they'll no longer be doing reviews because they could just sit back and acknowledge the fact that they own their own nation, and they will do this
Forever, Film Brain. Forever.
Film Brain asks if he gets tired of doing that voice, and critic goes on and on about how great the voice is, that it commands respect, before saying it does a little. Benzai asks Snob what's going on, and he says the stupid finances, they have no money because President Dickless won't do anything. He complains that he thinks the job is to remove themselves from reality, and Frisch suggests that since they think they're more qualified, that they should do something about it. Meanwhile, Linkara is training the others about the element of surprise, when Mars Girl and Angry Joe check in on him. When Joe sees a receipt for 20 tons of dynamite signed by the critic, showing it was Fritz that sent it there, as they become suspicious of Critic. Meanwhile, the nostalgia chick makes Critic some tea with poison as he holds off on drinking the tea, stopping, saying there's something missing. She stops the Cinema Snob from telling him something. He then asks for cream for his tea, when Angry Joe snatches away Cinema Snob, silently telling him about the dynamite in a comedic fashion before they go off screen. While Nostalgia Trick tries to get him to drink the tea without cream, it's a funny little back and forth that goes back and forth about not wanting tea, how tea is a good thing, how he just wants tea. It just makes a difference. She finally relents, angrily taking the tea to add creamer, mumbling under her breath just for him to realize he doesn't drink tea. Her seething with rage, returning with the gun as he's talking, her in the background aiming the gun, turning it behind her back when he looks at her. When he catches her with the gun, she just does jumping jacks off screen. I mean, it's a sort of funny scene, I guess. We cut back to everyone back in the hotel room as Bennett the Sage complains that he can't stretch his arms, saying happy birthday to him. Cinema Snob walks in and asks what's going on, as Joe tells Lee to explain, as he just goes on about how amazing it is to drink water all 3D. Lord Cat lets Cinema Snob know about the 20 tons of dynamite that Critic has and wonders what he's gonna do with it. Snob denies it at first, but when Cat tells him to look him in the eye and tell him he's not stupid enough to do something crazy, Cinema Snob agrees and tries to make a point that just might be a plan from Ba, Cinema Snobs, that says that they'll talk to the Critic and says that he'll put it delicately before just telling him that they think he's nuts. The Critic promising that he'll make it up to him, Cinema Snob joking about the rumor that the Critic bought the dynamite, which Critic confirms to be true.
What?
Oh yeah, the whole place is wired. You see, I've wanted this place for a long time. And now that I got it, I'm not gonna let anyone take it away from me. I've discovered that the world is filled with nasty wasties. And a lot of those nasty wasties want what I got. So, if any of them try to take away what I have, I'm not afraid to go down with the ship. Take everybody with me. But that's just if one of those nasty wasties shows up. Or if someone in this beloved nation of mine is a nasty wasty. What do you say, Cinema Snob? You're not one of those nasty wasties, are you?
Oh, of course not.
Good. I'm glad we had this talk. Take care.
Snob returns to the hotel, agreeing that he's completely nuts, and they need to act fast. Bennett the Sage makes a crazy idea. They suggest ideas. They turn them down. Spider Smith returns with a weird idea. Jew Wario repeating that he likes the ideas. Unknown to them, Film Brain overheard the whole thing and ran to the Critic to tell him what happened, with some over-exaggerated details.
And they were talking about killing you, and they were talking about different ways of killing you, and the Cinema Snob was like, it's my plan, so I'll kill him. So I ran back here as fast as I could, but they saw me, so Superman broke in, and he killed them all with his heat vision, and then he took me back to his home, where we saw Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and the rest of the Justice League! And then we went out to a bar, and we had a couple of drinks, I got totally shit-faced, and then I hailed a cab, and I got back here!
Is that all true, Film Brain?
Well, I kind of got carried away with the second half, but the first half is really true!
The Critic declaring that the Cinema Snob will be put on trial. Cinema Snob returning to the hotel to find that it's empty when Film Brain jumps up from the side of the bed, running and screaming at him like Arnold Schwarzenegger before telling him that he's being put on trial.
God shoot me. No!
The trial was short, literally short, as he's found guilty despite everyone saying no. Snob makes a speech.
When I helped build Kickassia, I had a dream of freedom, justice, and honor. But now I see it's been shadowed by the dumbass cockface that sits across from me. You really know how to put the dick in dictatorship.
They do a bit from A Few Good Men, as the Critic asks what his sentencing should be before asking Phalus, who pretty much feeds him what to say. He bans him from Kickassia, giving a speech as he stands on the other side of the fin. Cinema Snob goes back to the hotel room down the road, saying that if anyone wants to reach him, he has his cell phone. As Critic tells him not to look at him, the other is waving goodbye, and they all lament the loss of the Cinema Snob, all of them moving their hands when the Critic looks at them. Meanwhile, Fritz, aka the president of Molossia, Kevin, is smiling as his plan is coming along just nicely. As night falls on Kickassia, we see the Critic walk to his room, as we see it has been changed to his old review room. But it's not. As he touches the table, it brings back memories of his past, as he hears his old self repeating his intro. He wonders, how could this happen? And who did this? As it's revealed to be Mati, who reminded him of who he is, and a warning.
Stop being a douchebag! It's totally gonna backfire.
They do a back and forth, Critic saying, damn it, like Bones from Star Trek, as he questions him on why he's doing what he's doing. And He says that he's the president and he has no friends. Mati reminds him of his roots. As he leaves, Mati telling him he's a fool and that he can't change his destiny, only choose to beat it, and he will fail. The others try and form a plan to stop Critic, which you can tell a lot of the special is just this, forming a plan, they get a plan, they go off, and then they do it again with some movie riffs in between, while they do the plan and rinse and repeat. This is what third time they did this, and not saying that making a plan isn't important, but it's getting a little much. Linkara suggests that they do a full-on assault, and that he will orchestrate it, while Joe protests, saying that they won't be able to stop Critic in time before he detonates the bombs, as they look to Spoonie, pleading to him to give in to the madness, and unleash Dr. Insano, as he does the same thing from the past before Benzai slaps him, convincing him to give in to the madness. Spoonie agrees, and finally begins his transformation. Part 5 starts as we see Handsome Tom still holding the flag, Linkara and Benzai sneaking to the Critic as Dr. Insano is with them. Critic is watching Hogan's Heroes. Spoonie attacks him from behind as they initiate the fight. Which, apparently, while they were filming the fight scene, Spoonie was too rough and accidentally rips Doug's M. Bison cape, and that caused them to get into a heated argument. And when they finally went back to filming the next day, they wouldn't look at each other and mumbled under their breath, which is sad when you think that these are grown men doing this. And what they're late 20s, early 30s, you know? And they act like this? Anyways, they trade blows, and they seem evenly matched, doing almost Looney Tunes-like attacks. Film Brain runs in for some reason, and they just let him pass and fall on his face. Nostalgia Chick walks in, trying to poison the Critic again, and helps him, probably on purpose, by hitting the Critic before getting knocked out herself. Meanwhile, Dr. Insano gets the Critic on the ground and just unleashes a barrage of punches on him as he seems to defeat him, before demanding to control Kickassia himself as he makes these outrageous demands, letting Critic regain consciousness as he hits him with a force lightning. Or, as Critic explains it,
well, this is just superconductor electromagnetism. Certainly you've heard of it. It levitates bullet trains from Tokyo to Osaka. It will levitate my rocket share once it finally arrives. And it also levitates me.
Critic takes flight like M. Bison as he hovers around, only to reveal that it's just him on his tippy toes. Critic hitting Spoonie with a prissy little electric strike as Spoonie hits him with pure science as they have a Star Wars-like lightning fight as they are evenly matched. Critic letting him just fly past again, aiming the gun at him. Linkara and Benzai try to stop him, going back and forth, trying to stop him, remembering it's just Spoonie in there, but not to reveal the truth that they're all against him. Spoonie pleading with many people before screaming, "Please, Santa Christ!" Santa Christ walks in as Critic shoots him.
Surprise, we all love.
Well, gee, that's sad.
You just killed Santa Christ!
You all saw it. He came at me with a chainsaw.
The others show up as they see what the critic did. Critics saying it was an accident as they lament the loss of Santa Christ. Filmbrain screaming as he sees him. Just then, Critic tells them that they may be able to save Santa Christ if they dare to try, if they dare to believe, before telling them to show us what it truly means to believe. Before they all start shouting, "We believe in Santa Christ." It's a weird, out of place scene where they all get together to try and bring back Santa Christ. Even Critic, who's the villain, is telling everyone to believe in Santa Christ. I mean, I guess it's like a funny little Care Bears moment. But it's kind of weird how they stopped the movie just to bring back Santa Christ, or an attempt to bring back Santa Christ, as you'll see. As the members of Channel Awesome all shout out, "I believe in Santa Christ! I believe in Santa Christ!"
We believe in Santa Christ! 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 I believe in Santa Christ!
I believe in Santa Christ.
We believe in Santa Christ!
I believe in Santa Christ.
I believe in Santa Christ!
I believe in Santa Christ.
We believe in Santa Christ.
I believe in Santa Christ.
I believe in Santa Christ.
I believe in Santa Christ!
I believe in... Wait, you want me to say what?
I believe in Santa Christ.
サンタクライストを信じている。
I believe in Santa Christ. I believe in Santa Christ.
I believe in Santa Christ.
I believe in Santa Christ.
Telling us to shout, "We believe in Santa Christ," as it doesn't work. Throwing the body in the dumpster, them once again going back to the room for some reason, as they once again plan for how to take down the nostalgia critic. Joe punching 8-Bit Mickey every time he gets back up. They look to Linkara, who's cleaning his magical gun, for a plan, as he changes into a Star Trek red shirt and a military helmet. He starts talking like a war general as he starts making plans on the board game Risk, as he tells them the game plan before it devolves into Board Game explaining the rules of Risk.
Glad you asked. You got your deck of 56 Risk cards, 3 red dice, 2 white dice, 6 sets of colored armies, and of course your game board, because every board game has a game board. The first step is to claim all the territories. Each player rolls 1 die. Whoever rolls the highest number gets to place one of their armies on the territory of their choice. After all territories are claimed, gameplay begins. At the beginning of every turn, count the number of territories you already own, then divide the total by 3, then add that number of armies. You can also get armies by trading in certain combinations of cards. You get the cards from capturing a territory. The attacker rolls the red dice based off the number of armies they have on the territory which is attacking. The winner is the first greedy bastard to take over the whole world. And, that's all there is to it.
Hey, that's good to know. Thanks, Board James.
Well, thank you for the, obligatory cameo.
They start playing the game before realizing that they're supposed to be playing to defeat the critic, as they complain when they hear the door knock, and it's Filmbrain? Finally realizing that the critic is evil after killing Santa Christ, wanting his head, they give him the rundown as they finally prepare for the final battle of the critic, which is like, what, the 4th time they try to take him down, saying that they only have a few days to get the plan together, which, I mean, the Molossia site said it lasted from the 9th to the 11th, so maybe just 2 days? I don't know how much time has passed in this movie. I mean, there's no significant time period, so maybe this is the 11th? Anyways, they finally devise a plan as part 6 begins. All the really bad shit happens, and well, bad shit happens as the critic frolics in the garden as they begin their barrage on the critic. He runs into Mars Girl and a group as they prepare to attack him. He runs to the others as they attack him. Barry throwing him as he attacks critic. He faces 3D Lee and dismisses him at first before getting another barrage of punches. Before 3D gets kicked into 3Ds, he ran to the house and is attacked by Phaelus and Filmbrain. They all surround him as Snob appears. They declare that is the end of the critic. Phaelus declares that the first rule is they all out beat down on the critic. Critic tries to defend himself by enacting a new idea before Phallis leads him into getting his ass beat, which he does. A beautiful collage, a beautiful tapestry of him being punched and beat as he lay broken and stomped upon. He laments that he never got his rocket chair. Angry Joe runs into the room with Boss Family pretty much declaring the same thing, for a new uprising has begun. The Nostalgia Chick congratulates him for defeating him and saying that since he's vice president, she declares herself new president, going all evil, saying that there's going to be new rules before Snob takes the hat, then Lakara, then everyone just goes at each other, wanting the rule of president for themselves, before Santa Christ steps in and stops them. Film break hugging him for returning. Nostalgia Chick questioning how it took 3 days. 3 days? It took 3 days from the comeback? Like, what were they doing? Playing the plan for 3 days just for him to run in? That's not planning. Anyways, he shoots down her question, giving her the board game Othello, whatever, making her happy, okay, which is a thing he does as he gives Critic and other characters presents and stuff, Santa Christ, as he reminds them that they were better off just doing what they were doing, reviewing things, and to give Molossia back to Kevin Baugh. Honestly, this all feels like they don't know how to end this, so they just have Santa Christ roll in and be like, "You guys can't be leaders, you're internet nerds. Give Molossia back to Kevin, you guys were happier being reviewers, right?" They all agree as they cheer, everything being put back to normal. Or is it?
No you don't! Need I remind you that there are 20 tons of dynamite under this nation?
Joke's on you, moron. I disconnected the dynamite after I left. You push that thing and nothing happens.
I don't believe you! I push this button and we all get blown sky high! Very well. For the honor and honor of Kickassia! Kaboom!
They all run and pummel the Nostalgia Critic. The next scene, he officially gives back Molossia to Kevin, which he's still in his Fritz character, Critic telling him to relay the message to the president as they leave the great micronation of Molossia, as Rob narrates a speech in his John Hurt voice as he rambles until the Critic shoots him, ending the special. The credits showing a mural depicting the great invasion of Molossia, which is the events of Kickassia, as the screen fades to black on the final drawing of the president of Molossia, back in his spot of president of his great, great land. There's also a small scene at the very end with Doug and Spoonie, probably a blooper. But that was the first CA anniversary special, Kickassia. Man, that was a hefty script. Over 5,000 words? Give or take the words I added in while recording. I think it was the best of the trilogy. Now, you might disagree with Suburban Nights. I don't think we're all gonna have anything debating about how bad To Boldly Flee is. But I hope you enjoyed the review. And if you want, check out the CA anniversary specials before the reviews so you can really enjoy them as much as you can. Again, if you haven't seen them, it's just a bunch of internet guys just making movies, I guess. And for those who know about the Change the Channel drama from the Not So Awesome document, it might be a little difficult to enjoy it, considering everything that happened behind the scenes. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. What do you think of the review of Kickassia? Let me know in the comment section below whether it's good criticism or bad criticism. Hearing from you guys is the best part about me doing this whole YouTube thing. And until then, I'll see you guys when you visit the gallery again and I give my hoot in the dark. Thank you so much for watching. Join the Parliament of Hoots today and hit the bell to let you know when I go live or my next video is up. Don't forget to like the video and share with your fams. Let me know what you guys think of this episode in the comment section below. Check out these 2 videos, it'll take you to more of my content. Don't forget to follow me on my other platforms, Twitter and PlayStation Network. I might get a Twitch sometime, but in the near future. Until then, thank you guys so much for watching as I gave my Hoot in the Dark.